Hi everyone. So today here we are going to cover quadratic functions, quadratic function and model. So what we have seen before here is linear function here. So if you have if you have say equation of a line just mx plus little b, so that is equation of a line. Equation of the line here just y equal mx plus b. We mentioned m here is the slope, right? We mentioned also b here, that is y intercept, right? So this function here, that's a line. If you try to graph this one here, it will be a line like this, or it might be a line like this one here. So it's a line in an equation of a line. If you graph it, you'll get a line. So now that is equation, we call it linear equation because you have equal sign, and the highest power here for x and y here is 1. So is this one here function? Yes. If it turn out equal f of x equal here mx plus little b, then we call it linear functions. We call it linear functions. I gave you function here, guys, in other lecture. So linear functions. So you can ask a question here: is any equation, is that automatic will be a function? It turn out there is something is called vertical line test. What is vertical line test? Vertical line test. Vertical line test here is if you have equation, I give you equation. Then go ahead and sketch the graph. Go ahead and sketch the graph. For example, this one here, it's a line. So this one, it's a line. So what is vertical line test? They tell you, if you take a vertical line on the graph, just a vertical line like this, it turns out the vertical line here, it could be here too. Any vertical line, you take it on the graph, is going to intersect the graph at most one point. At most one point. So that's called vertical line test. So you take here a vertical line on the graph is going to intersect the graph at most one point. That's called vertical line test. So the vertical line test, if you graph here, a vertical line, or you consider vertical line on the graph of the function of the equation, on the graph of the equation is given to you, then if it turn out the line here intersect the graph of the equation at most one point. The equation at most one point, then we say this one here is the equation is a function. Then the equation, our equation here is a function. Okay, guys? So that is, for example, here, that is a line. So that's the equation of any line. So it's very clear. If you take vertical line like this, intersect the graph at most one point. If I take any vertical line, you will see intersect the line here. The equation of my line here is the graph of the line at most one point. All right. So if I take, for example, another example here to apply vertical line test. If you take quadratic equation, what is quadratic equation here? If I consider, say, y equal x square. We know the graph of y equal x square is parabola here, right? Parabola here, the graph is parabola. So if I try to graph it like this one here, if I take, that's equation here. Equation, because you have here equal sign, the highest power is 2. That's the reason we call it quadratic equation. So if you take a vertical line like this, or vertical line like this, you'll see the vertical line. I'm trying to apply vertical line test here. If you take vertical line, it's going to intersect the graph at most one point. If I take vertical line here, intersect the graph at most one point. So because of that, this equation here is functions. So I can write, instead of y, I could write it, replace it by f of x equal x squared. So that is a function here by vertical line test. I take vertical line, intersect. So any equation, if you have, I give you any equation, and I try to ask you, is this one here a function? Then the graph, and just apply for vertical line test to check if the vertical line intersects the graph at most one point, then yes, it's a function. Yes, it's a function. So now our goal here for today to consider this quadratic function here, because that is the simplest. The simplest function is not straight, is not linear. That is, we call it the simplest non-linear model or function. That is our quadratic. So I'm going to give a start here. That's the title here: quadratic functions, quadratic function and model. So I will take this one here, and then I try to. Our goal here is how to sketch the graph of these quadratic functions, how to sketch the graph of these quadratic functions, and also how you find the minimum and the maximum of this one here. So now, what is the function here? As I said, simplest non-linear functions, or the simplest non-straight or non-linear is the quadratic function. So f of x equal ax squared plus bx plus c. We require a here shouldn't be 0. Your a cannot be 0, because if a is 0, you get, what did you get? You get linear function. But here we require a non-zero, and your a, b, and c, all of them here, a, b, c here are are real numbers. Are real numbers. Just real number. Are real numbers. Okay. So that is all of them here are just a numbers. So our goal here is to that is called here, that is quadratic functions. And also, if I have equation and then I write y, ax squared bx plus c, right? That's called quadratic equation. But this one, quadratic function. So I should write here, that is quadratic. We call it quadratic function. And this one here, we call it quadratic equation. Quadratic here, quadratic equation. Okay, what is the difference between those two here? This one here, as I said, by graph. For example here, guys, if I tell you y equal x squared minus 2x plus 1, like this, all right? This one here, equation, quadratic equation, yes, because the highest power is 2. But this one here, if I have completing the square, it's called completing square. I could write it as x minus 1 square, x minus 1 square, like this. If I complete the square of this one here, then what do you have? What is the graph of this? Again, it will be parabola here. It will be parabola here. So it will be similar. What is the graph of y equal x squared? It will be like this. That is our y equal x squared, right? Y equal x squared. That is your parabola here. But x minus 1, you are going to do some shifting for this graph. What kind of shift? You are going to shift the graph to 1 unit to the right. So how to get that? You equate that to 0. If I equate that to 0 here, if you put y equals 0, you get x minus 1 equals 0. So x equal 1. So which means you do some shifting for the graph. I come at 1 here. I make vertical line. That's x equal 1. Then I shift the graph. It will be like this. You shift the graph like this. So it turned out, so the graph of any quadratic equation is nothing but it will be parabola like this. If you have y equal x squared, that is the graph. Parabola is open up like this. If you have, say, y equal minus x squared, then it's a parabola is open down like this, right? Y equal minus x squared, it will be parabola like this. For all cases here, if I give you any quadratic equation like this, the graph, it will be parabola. It might be open up or open down. But what you really care here is by vertical line test, you can apply vertical line test here. So what did you get? You get the vertical line intersects the graph at most 1 point. So which means this equation or this quadratic equation is nothing but is a function. Is a function here. Is a function. Okay, guys? So now, how you would like to know here if the graph is concave up, we call it concave up or open up, or concave down if it's open down. How you will know this one here? So here we are. If we look to here, I have here ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So if I look to a, guys, if a greater than 0, if you have a greater than 0 here, then the graph of this quadratic function, the graph will be concave up. Will be concave up. Okay? So I should write here will be concave up. All right? concave up, I'm going to write CU, between bracket here, CU, concave up, like the graph will be open up like this, all right? So if I look to the coefficient A, if it's positive, then I know the graph will be concave up. If A less than 0, then the graph is concave down, CD. I should write it here, concave down. So what is concave down? I write it in between brackets CD. So this CD here means concave down. So if I look to the coefficient of these quadratic functions, I will figure out the graph open up or open down. So now, why is it important here, guys? It's important here, concave up here, concave up like this, if you have A greater than 0. Right, it's concave up, CU. And then it's a concave down like this, when A less than 0, that is concave down. That is important because if the graph concave up, then it has minimum here. It has minimum. So that it will be minimum. If the graph is concave down here, then you have maximum. So here it's concave up, concave down, then I know there is maximum. If it's concave up like this, then it will be minimum. So now, how to sketch the graph? I'm going to summarize this to 3 steps. Step number 1. So this point here that I have minimum or maximum, we call it vertex, guys. We call it vertex. So what is the vertex? The vertex where you have minimum or you have maximum here. So that's called vertex. So this point here, we call it vertex. This one here, we call it vertex. And this one here also, the same, we call it vertex here, guys. All right? How we are going to find the vertex? It turned out, because here your graph, if it's concave up or concave down like this point here, you will have, you have what? You have x here, and you have y. So I need to get this point x, that is your x here, and that is your y. How to get x? Turn out x here is nothing but negative b over 2a. Negative b over 2a. What is a and b? That is the coefficient here. Look what you have, ax squared bx plus c. So it will turn out negative b over 2a, negative b over 2a. That is give you the x coordinate here, where you could have minimum or maximum. How to get y? The y here is the value f at negative b over 2a. So that is your vertex. That is step number 1 here. Step number 1, I have, in order to sketch the graph, step number 1, you go ahead and find the vertex, x. What is the x coordinate? What is your y coordinate? So that is a 2 point here. That's give you the vertex. Step number 2, to sketch the graph here, guys, I need to all here how to sketch the graph. So sketch, I should write here, sketch the graph of quadratic function, So to sketch the graph, I have few steps. Step number 1, I have to go ahead and find the vertex. Step number 2, I have to go ahead and find x-intercept. Find here your x-intercept and your y-intercept if you have. So you have to try to find first, step number 2, find what is your x-intercept and what is your y-intercept, if any, because sometimes you don't have intercept, you don't have x-intercept or you don't have y-intercept. So you have to go ahead and check what is your x-intercept, your y-intercept. How we are going to get your x-intercept and y-intercept? For y-intercept here, that will be easy. For y-intercept, you put x equals 0 in the equation as I did before. So here is the equation. Let me call this equation here, guys, just a star. I write the equation here, quadratic function, as a star. If I put x equals 0, remember your f of x exactly the same like y. F of x equal y, because we figure out the equation, quadratic equation, is nothing but is quadratic function by using vertical line test. So if I put x equals 0 in star, so what did you get? What is your y? Just replace x by 0, this term becomes 0. This term also becomes 0. What did you get? You get c. So that is your c here, that is your y-intercept. How to get x-intercept, guys? X-intercept, I have to put y equals 0. I have to put y equals 0 where? In a star. If I put y equals 0 in a star, what did you get? You will get 0 equal ax squared bx plus c. So that is the equation here. Just I put y equals 0. If you put y equals 0, so that is are familiar with this one here, that is quadratic equations. I can use quadratic formula to solve this one here. And this, when I solve this, that is give you minus 4ac. That is going to give you what? X-intercept. That's give you X-intercept. So step number one, I need to find the vertex where you have min or max. And then turn out the vertex minus b over 2a. And I have to find x coordinate and y coordinate here. And then I have to find x-intercept and y-intercept. All right? So I take this one here out. And then I have to, I'm just writing the steps here, guys. I can take this one here also out. So I need to write the steps here. I have another step. So that is step number one, step number two. And then what we'll do here, I have step number three. Step number three, we have to check so-called symmetry, guys. Symmetry. Symmetry. What do you mean symmetry here? Symmetry here means, I'm just explaining what is symmetry here. So you will have, when I tell you guys y equal x squared, what is the graph of this? It will be parabola like this, right? Parabola. So what is going on here? It's like you have mirror here, and this piece of the graph here, this piece of the graph is going to reflect to the other side, So because of that, you have mirror in y-axis here. So there is a symmetry here because you have like mirror here, and whatever you have on the graph here reflect to the other side. Likewise, if you have y equal, if I take, say, x equal y squared, y equal y squared, so you have something like this. It's like, that is a graph, x equal y squared. The graph, like you have mirror here also, and this piece reflect on the other side. This piece reflect on the other side. So here means you have symmetry around here y-axis because the graph is reflecting to the other side. So here for the symmetry here, guys, so the parabola here, the graph of any quadratic, it will be parabola here, is symmetric. I'm going to explain this. Symmetric with respect to, I'm just writing the step and then I try to apply that. With respect to vertical line, which vertical line? Through the vertex, vertical line through the vertex, which is, what is the vertical line here? The line here is x equal minus b over 2a. And that is exactly the same here. Because remember, that is the one here, the vertex, x equal minus this one, minus b over 2a, and here you have x minus b over 2a. And remember something here, when you have x equal constant, that's a constant. Your a is a number, your b is a number, so that's a number here. When x equal constant, that is give you vertical line. So here, around this vertical line, you will have kind of symmetry, like you have mirror. All right? So that is very much the step I'm going to follow in order to sketch the graph of quadratic functions. So I'm going to follow the step here. I don't have room to write to do this. So maybe I give you one example here, and just try to, if you copy this, those three steps I'm going to follow. Step number one, I have to find the vertex, x coordinate, y coordinate. Step number two, I have to find x-intercept, y-intercept. And then step number three, you find the symmetric here around the vertex, and that's it very much to sketch the graph. So I give you example here, example number one, try to apply this step. What is the step here? Sketch. I need to sketch the graph. What is the function here, guys? Of your f of x, I maybe I write the function here, f of x equal, what is your f of x? Sketch the graph, f of x equal x squared plus 2x minus 8. X squared plus 2x minus 8. So now, how I'm going to find this one here? Step number one here, guys, when I look to this quadrant, is this quadratic function? Yes, because the highest power here is 2. So what is the coefficient of x squared? What is the number in front of x squared? What is my a, guys? Your a is what? Your a here, your ax squared. So compare. What is your a? Your a here is 1, right? So if a was 1 is greater than 0, your a equal 1 greater than 0, then I have to figure out the graph is concave up here or concave down. since your a, which is 1 greater than 0, the graph is concave up. Then here I figure out the graph is concave up. I write CU, concave up, it's open up, right? So because your a greater than 0, your a greater than 0. So maybe I write here, it's very tiny, but I could write here. So what do you have, guys, here? I take this one here out like this. Then the graph is concave up, right? So what is your b? Then since I'm here, what is your b? Your a is 1. What is your b? Okay, guys. So let me give you example here for those 3 steps here. I need to sketch the graph of f of x equal x squared 2x minus 8. Your a here is, what is your a is 1 because I compare to here. So what is x squared? A is 1. B here is what? Is 2. Your c here is minus 8. So I'm going to apply this one here, the 3 steps that I mentioned. The step number 1 here, I need to get the vertex. So in order to sketch the graph, step number 1, I have to get the vertex. How to get the vertex here, guys? You have x, your vertex here, x coordinate and y coordinate. What is your x, guys, here? It will be minus b over 2a. That is step number 1. So what is your b, guys, from here is 2. So I write here 2. I write here 2. And then what is your a? Your a here is 1. So 2 here, 2 divided by 2a. 2a. So that is a is 1. So you get negative 1. You get negative 1. So now I need to get y coordinate. So that is your f at negative b over 2a. And that is, it will be here just f. What is the value f at minus 1? So I go back to star here. That is your star. What is, just replace, sorry, equation 1 here. Equation 1. I go to equation 1 here. I replace x by what? I replace x by minus 1. So what do you have if I replace x, equation 1 here, guys? If I replace x by minus 1, you get minus 1 squared, right? Plus 2 multiplied by minus 1, plus you have minus 8. So if I simplify this, you get 1. Minus 1 squared, you get 1, right? And here you have minus 2, and here you have minus 8. So what did you get? You get minus 9. What I got here, minus 9. So what is my vertex here, guys? Your x equal minus 1, and your y equal minus 9. So here is the point. So minus 1 and minus 9, and that is where you have your minimum. Y is minimum here because the graph is concave up, open up, concave up means it has minimum. Okay, so you have minus 1 and minus 9. That is my step number 1, how to get the vertex. Step number 2, I have to get your x-intercept and y-intercept, the intercept, right? I need to get the intercept. So how to get the intercept? Let us make it easy, get y-intercept first. Why? Because it's easy to get. How to get y-intercept from here? Just your constant c, that is your y-intercept. Your constant c, that is my y-intercept. If I replace x by 0 here, if I put x equals 0 in equation 1, so what did you get? You get y equal minus 8. Y equal minus 8. That is where the graph cross y-axis. If I replace x here by 0, you get minus 8. So now I need to get here x-intercept. So how to get x-intercept? X-intercept here, I have to put y equals 0. Y equals 0 where? In equation 1. Where is equation 1? Here. So if I replace y by 0, so you have 0 equal x squared plus 2x minus 8. 2x minus 8. How to solve this? That is now is quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. You can use quadratic formula if you want. You can solve that, or you can factor, try factor if you can. So here it's easy to factor, guys. So what you have x, and here you have x. And how to get 8 in the middle here, you have what? You have 2. So you have, I could write here 4 and 2 like this. And what is the sign here? The sign in the middle plus. So the bigger one should be plus, and the smaller one here should be minus 2. So what I have here, guys, if I simplify this, I will have 0 product. You have 2 brackets, the product of that 0. So it might be the first one here is 0. Or the second one, which is x plus 4, could be 0. That's called 0 product. The first bracket could be 0, or the second bracket equals 0. So this one here gave you x equal 2, and this one here gave you x equal minus 4. If you are not strong for how to factor, it's okay. you can use quadratic formula. They are going to give you those two numbers. They are going to give you those two numbers. All right, guys? So what I have here, guys, that is your x-intercept. What do you mean x-intercept? Where is the graph cross x-axis and y-axis? Sorry, the graph cross intersect the x-axis at 2 and -4. And here that is our y-axis, which is graph cross y-axis. So if I graph this one here, or I try to use this information here, so where is 2, guys? Here, 2 may be here. You have to scale that. Where is -4? It may be -4 here. So the graph here is going to cross here and cross here. That is your x-intercept. So this one here, x-intercept, means cross here and there. So where is my vertex here, guys? Locate that. So with x equal -1 here, your y is -9. So I have to come here, that is -9 maybe. I have to skip that. So I have here, that is the point which is -1 and -9. So that is the point where you have your, it's called vertex. So now, what is the step number 3? So I figure out step number 1. What is step number 1? To find the vertex, x coordinate, y coordinate. Step number 2, you find x-intercept and y-intercept. Step number 3, I have to check, that is the last step, about the symmetry. What is the symmetry here? I wrote it here. Symmetry here means your graph, parabola here, is symmetric with respect to this, which is x equal -b/2a. What is b minus b/2a? That is already, you have to figure out here, which is -1. So when x equal -1, what is that? When x equal -1, it's a vertical line. So I come at -1 here, guys. That is your y-axis, right? And here, that is my x-axis. So I come at -1 here. So I make vertical line like this. You make vertical line like this, right? And this vertical line, of course, passing this -1 and 9. So here you have, I could write this one here as, you know, -1 and -9. -1 and -9. All right, guys? So now, what does this mean here? So the graph I know is cross x-axis. So I know the graph is concave up. Concave up, it's open up. So I have to come with this one here like this, right? And of course, it has minimum. It's a parabola here. So they're coming from the vertex here and cross -4 here. And what you don't need, the second piece here, what's going on here, you have like mirror here. You have like mirror here for this one here. And the graph is going to reflect going up to 2 here. Remember, I'm asking you to sketch the graph. I'm not asking you to give me exact graph. So here -4 and 2. So that is my graph. Like you have mirror here and this piece reflected the other side. So whatever you have here should be similar to this one. But you sketch the graph. So what you have here, that's your minimum here, guys. So so you have symmetry. That's what last step here. I check the symmetry around x equal -1. What is x -1? That is your vertex, around the vertex here, which is vertical line, is called x equal -b/2a. That is x equal -1. That's what you have. You figure out the vertex, you figure out x-intercept, just to connect them like this, you are done. So now, I could add extra question here. Here I ask you to sketch the graph. I could ask you another question here, how you find the minimum or the maximum. What do you have here? The graph is concave up like this, it has minimum. It has minimum. So what is the minimum value? So the minimum value, the minimum here, the minimum value of your f of x is what? Is -9 when x equal -1. When x equal -1. You see, that is your vertex here. So that is your x -1 and your y. What is your y? That is your f of x. What is your f of x? -9. So the minimum value here will be, look what you have for the vertex, y, when x equal -1. What is the value of f at -1? What is the value of f at -1? That is your minimum value. That is our minimum value, which is -9. So the minimum value here is -9 when x equal -1. All right, guys? So that is the way to sketch the graph or to find minimum or maximum. To find the minimum or to find the maximum. All right, so I give you another example here. I have another example here. Apply again, I'm going to apply those 3 steps that I wrote. So I have 2 examples here. So maybe I will give it to you here. So what is the example number 2 here, guys? Example number 2 here. We need to sketch the graph and find also and find the minimum or maximum. Find minimum or maximum, depending on if you have minimum or you have maximum. What is f of x here? Your f of x equal 4x squared minus 12x minus 9. 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. Okay, plus 9 here. I have plus 9. All right, so here I just copy that. It will be plus 9. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do here, guys, I need to get step by step here. Step number 1, I take this one here out. If you allow me here to take this one here out. So now what you have, guys, here, I compare. What is my a, guys? What is your a? Your a is what? 4. Your a here is 4. What is your b, guys, here? What is your b? Minus 12. What is your c, guys, here? What is your c? Remember your c, that is your y-intercept. Your c here, whatever the number here, y-intercept. So here your a greater than 0. Your a greater than 0. If a greater than 0, then the graph is what? The graph is concave up. Concave up, I can write CU. Concave up means, if the graph is concave up like this, means your f has minimum. Your f has minimum. So our f has minimum. And I need to get the minimum value here. But first, let us sketch the graph, and then we try to find the minimum. I take this one here out, guys. I'm going to repeat the same story here, which is I have to find the vertex. And then I have to find x-intercept and y-intercept. So step number 1, in order to sketch the graph, and remember the vertex here also, that is give you the minimum value for your f. So what is the vertex here, guys? Your x equal minus b over 2a. Minus b over 2a. So what is your b, guys, here? Your b minus 12. So I put minus 12 over 2a. What is your a? Is 4, just 4, right? So if I simplify this, negative, as you can see, I put the negative sign between bracket. So you get plus 12, the whole thing divided by 8. If I simplify that, divide by 4, you get 3 over 2. 3 over 2. That is my x coordinate here. X coordinate, I need to get y. What is your y? Your y here, f at negative b over 2a. Because your vertex, you must have x and y. So now, what is that? F at 3 over 2. How to get this one here? So I have to maybe write here. So f at 3 over 2. Let me write this equation number 2, guys, here. This equation, just give a number here. Just any number you wish. So that is my f of x. And that is also my little y. Your y equal f of x. Your y equal f of x. You know, because we mentioned that is your y equal f of x, because that is function here, right? And it's equation 2. So y equal f of x equal this one. So now I have to go ahead and replace x everywhere by 3 over 2. So what do you have? You have 4. 3 over 2. The whole thing is square. 3 over 2 squared minus 12 multiplied by x, which is 3 over 2 plus 9, guys, plus 9. So if I simplify this one here, what I have here for this one here, I have to get the value. So let us simplify. 4. 3 over 2, when I simplify, I square that, you have 9 over 4 minus 12, 3 over 2. So 2 cancel with 2 here, so what did you get? You get 18. And here what you have plus 9. 4 cancel with 4, guys. So what do you have? You have 9 minus 18 plus 9. So that is give you 0. The value here is 0. So 9 here with 9, you have 18 minus 18, you get 0, right? So that is your vertex, and that is your minimum also. Your minimum value is 0 when x equal what? 3 over 2. When x equal, here is your x, right? Here is your x, 3 over 2. So what is the minimum I got? I got the minimum value here, 0, as you can see. So that is my minimum value, as I'm going to show you. All right? So, but how did I know it's minimum value? Because I know the graph is concave, and the graph is concave up. And then it has minimum. All right? That's step number 1. I figure out the vertex. Step number 2, I have to find x-intercept, and I have to sketch the graph. So I take this one here out. All right? So what I'm going to do here, guys, step number 2, you go ahead and find step number 2 here. I need to get the intercept here, guys. Intercept. What is the intercept? What is y-intercept? Very easy to figure out. What is your y-intercept? I have to put x equals 0 where? In equation 2. And I told you that y-intercept, that's your constant here, guys. Whatever constant c here, that is my y-intercept. Include the sign. So what is my c? Plus 9. So y-intercept here is 9. Or if I replace x by 0 here, 0, this term cancel, but you have left just 9. So now I need to get x-intercept here, guys. How to get x-intercept? X-intercept, you have to put y equals 0. X-intercept, where is the graph cross x-axis? Where is the graph cross x-axis? So I will take y equals 0 in equation number 2. So what did you get? You get 0 equal 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. All right? So the best here is, if you want, if you are not strong in how to factor, it's okay. Just use quadratic formula if you want. You can use this one here. So I leave that to you at home. You can do just factor this. You are going to get 2 value for x. But here, I can factor this one here. So how do you are going to factor this? I could write this one here as 0 here. I could write 2x minus 3. Multiply by 2x minus 3. All right? 2x minus 3. So what do you have, guys, here? So you will have 2x minus 3 equals 0. It turns out it's repeated here, guys. 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3 equals 0, which means you have your 2x, take negative 3 to there, become plus 3. So what is your x? 3 over 2. 3 over 2, which is 1.5. 1.5. So here, that is your value where the graph cross x-axis. You have 2 value here, but it's repeated twice. So it's enough for in graph 1. So now, if I try to sketch this graph here or locate that, I have to locate first the vertex. What is the vertex coordinate here? What is your x for the vertex? Your vertex here, guys, just our vertex here, just try to see here, the vertex is, your x is what? 3 over 2. From here, 3 over 2. What is your y, guys? 0. So I have to locate that. X equal 3 over 2. So maybe I have to, move a little bit here, because, so I have to move so that I have, so 3 over 2 here, maybe that's 3 over 2, like this. So that is a point where you have your vertex here, because 3 over 2, and what is your y? 0. That is the one here, 3 over 2, and that is your y, 0, right? So that is my vertex. What's the second point here, x-intercept? Where is, you have x, the graph cross x-axis at 1.5. So which means at this point here, that is the same point. By accident here, your x-intercept here 3 over 2 and the vertex 3 over 2 here, right? So by accident. So that is a point where you have the vertex and also the graph cross x-axis, right? So now I need to get last step here. That is the one that's going to help us to graph. I have to figure out what is y-intercept, guys. What is your y-intercept? I figure out x-intercept 3 over 2. I locate here. What is your vertex? I put it here. And then what is missing here? I have to locate what is your y-intercept, which is y equal 9. So I have to come here. That is my y-axis, and that is our x-axis. So I have to write maybe that is 9 here. That is the graph cross y-axis. So now, last step about symmetry. Step number 3 here. Step number 3 to sketch the graph about symmetry. What is symmetry again? Symmetry means you are going to have like mirror around what? Around your vertical line, which is x equal minus b over 2a. In our case, minus b over 2a, already we figured out 3 over 2. 3 over 2. So I have to come at 3 over 2 here, and then I make vertical line. That is vertical line like this, vertical line. So that is your x equal 3 over 2. So x equal constant. When you have x equal constant, just a vertical line, all right, guys? So that is your vertical line. So what you're going to do here, guys, you have like mirror here, and then what you do and that is your vertex. So just to connect this one here, like parabola like this, and because you have, what is the length of these guys? What is the distance here, guys? The distance here is 3 over 2. The distance from here to there, 3 over 2. Because that's like mirror, you have the whole thing here, 3 over 2. I should also move to another 3 over 2, 3 over 2 here. So what 3 over 2 here? If I add 3 over 2, you get 3. So it's like you are going to sketch the graph like this, right? It's not, you don't need to have perfect graph, but what is catching the graph. So what is the conclusion here? The conclusion for this problem, step number one, I figure out the vertex. Then I locate all the vertex 3 over 2 and 0. You have to find x coordinate and y coordinate. So now, step number 2, you have to go ahead and find intercept, x-intercept, y-intercept. Then you locate them also on the graph. Step number 3, you have your vertex, the symmetry. What is symmetry means? Like you have mirror in which axis? In the vertical line, which is x equal minus b over 2a, which is in our case 3 over 2. I make vertical line, and you have mirror. So you connect the intercept like this, and this part is going to reflect to the other side. Then you are done. Then you are done. That is very much the problem. I have another one here, guys. Maybe I should give it to you here, and then another example here. And as I said here, I'm going to leave the application. They have some application related to this quadratic function we call quadratic model here. So I have, let me give you another example. I need to find the minimum. So now, before I finish this one, you could write here the minimum value. You can write the minimum value of f of x. F of x is what? Is 0, is 0, is 0. Just write 0 here. Is 0 here, guys. All right? Is 0 here. When? What is your y? What is your x? When x equal? 3 over 2. So that is my vertex. As you can see, where is the vertex? Here, 3 over 2. I wrote it here. Where? Here. Look what you have. Your value of f is 0 when x equals 3 over 2. All right, guys? So I'm going to give you another example here, guys. What is another example here? I need to sketch the graph and find also the minimum or the maximum if it's any. If you have that, so I take this one here out. All right? Take this one here out, and then I'm going to repeat the 3-step here also. I'm going to repeat the 3-step here. All right, guys? So let us do that one by one. So, and then I can take this one here out. So what is the f of x here? You have minus 1 over 2, x squared plus 4x minus 12. Let me call this equation number 3, guys. Let me call this equation minus equation number 3. Let me call the equation number 3. All right? So that is the one here I have like this. I'm dividing the board. So minus 1 over 2. So now, guys, what do you have here? Do you have minimum or maximum? What is your a, guys? Let us compare. What is your a, guys? Your a here is minus 1 over 2. What is your b, guys, here? What is your b? 4. Your b here, just compare 4. Your b is 4. What is your c, guys, here? Minus 12. So now, what is, when a here, it's less than 0, greater than 0. Less than 0. If it's less than 0, then the graph, what do you know about the graph? Concave up or concave down? The graph is concave down. So the graph here is concave down. So I should write it in short, CD here, concave down, because your a is negative number. So what is the graph? When the graph is concave down like this, that is your vertex I need to find. Then it has what? You have maximum here, guys. So if here, if it has maximum, you have maximum, and I need to get the value here. You have maximum value here, maximum, because the graph is concave up. Because the graph is concave down. The graph is concave down. You have maximum value. And our goal to find this maximum. So now I need to sketch the graph and find the maximum. Step number 1, you need to go ahead and find the vertex. Step number 1, I need to get the vertex. How to get the vertex? First, x coordinate. What is your x? Minus b over 2a. So now, what is your b, guys? Minus b. What is your b? 4. What is 2a here? What is your a? Your a here is minus 1 over 2. I need to simplify this one here, guys. Look what you have, guys. 2 here, cancel with 2. 2 cancel with 2. But what you have, negative 1 here, negative 1, and you have negative. So negative over negative, you get positive. And then 4 divided by 1, because 2 cancel with 2, you get 1 here left. So you get plus 4, guys. You have plus 4. So your x coordinate here equal just 4. Your x coordinate here, you get 4. Okay, guys? So I need to get y coordinate, guys. What is your y coordinate? That is your y. So that is your y equal this from equation number 3. So I need to get what is the value of f at 4. if at 4 here. So the coordinate here, it will be minus b over 2a. That's my vertex, which is f at 4. That is your x here is plus 4. So I go back here, guys. So I go in equation f of 4. Let me use equation number 3 here. That is what is given here. Just I'm going to replace x by 4. Replace x by 4. You follow, guys? So what I have here, guys, you have negative 1 over 2. And then I replace x by 4, replace x by 4. So you have 4 squared, right? Plus 4 multiplied by 4. 4 multiplied by 4. And minus 12, right? Minus 12. I replace x only by 4. Simplify this one here, guys. You have negative 1 over 2. What do you have here? 16. And here you have also 16 minus 12. So 2 cancel with 2 here, you get 8. So 8 multiplied by minus 1, you get minus 8 plus 16 minus 12. So minus 12 here with minus 8, you get minus 20. Minus 20 with plus 16, you get minus 4. So what is my vertex here, guys? My vertex here is your x is 4 and your y is minus 4. So you have here 4 and minus 4, right? So I need to figure out your intercept, and then I need to sketch the graph. You follow, guys? So what I have here, guys, I have to step number 3. That's step number 2 here. I have step number 1 to find the vertex. Step number 2, I have to find the intercept. All right? So what is y-intercept here, guys? Y-intercept, that is my c again. What is your c? Minus 12. Your c here, minus 12. So just put x equals 0 in equation number 3. You will get y equal constant c here, which is in our case minus 12. So that is your y-intercept. So the graph here is, the point here is 0, x equals 0, and your y equal minus 12. Because I need to locate this point, right, on the graph. So now I need to get x-intercept here, guys. I need to get x-intercept. How to get x-intercept? In order to get x-intercept, I have to put y equals 0 where? In equation number 3. Y equals 0 in equation number 3. So what do you have, guys? You will have 0 equal minus 1 over 2 x squared plus 4x minus 12. All right? So now I need to solve this one here, because it's not all the problem easy to factor here. So as I said, in order to be in safe side here, so use quadratic formula here. Let us use quadratic formula and see what we're going to get over 2a. So now I'm going to replace, what is your a and b and c? Here is your a, minus 1 over 2. What is your b, guys? 4. So you have here minus 4 plus or minus a square root of b squared. What is your b squared? Your b from here, 4 squared. So you have 4 squared, that is b squared, right? Minus 4a. What is your a, guys? Here, your a is negative 1 over 2. What is your c, guys? Minus 12. All right? So the whole thing divided by 2a. What is your a? Minus 1 over 2. All right? It's very important to simplify this and give attention to whatever you have under square root. Because if you have under square root here is negative number, then there is, I'm looking for what? Real numbers. So we cannot take a square root of negative number. If you use technology square root of negative number, you have error. Means it's not in the domain here, which means this one, there is no way to solve this equation, which means there is no x-intercept, If I simplify this one here, guys, you have 4 plus or minus. What do you have here? 16. And negative times negative, look what you have. Negative times negative, you get positive. But you have also negative outside, so you have negative here. So what do you get? 2 here. 2 cancel with 4, you get 2. So you can use technology for this. 4 here, get here 2, multiply by negative, so you get 24. Divided by 2 cancel with 2, you get negative 1. So 2 cancel with 2, you get negative 1. What I really care here is you get negative 4 plus or minus square root of negative 8. And that is over negative 1. So here, this one here, negative 8 means you have error. Which means what? I cannot find. We require here, in order to able to get x-intercept, in order to get value for x, this one must be, could be 0 or it could be positive, but not negative like this, because that is error undefined. So because of that here, guys, there is no real solution. There is no real solution for this quadratic form, no real solution. So when you have no real solution for this quadratic equation, that's called quadratic equation, then there is no x-intercept, which means the graph does not cross x-axis. The graph does not cross x-axis. So I don't have x-intercept. There is no x-intercept. So now if I try to sketch the graph here, guys, I need to sketch the graph here. So step number one, where is the vertex? Here is the vertex, 4 and minus 4. When x equal 4, you have your y. So when x equal 4, maybe I shift this one a little bit here, no room. So what you have, I have to maybe zoom it a little bit. So you have x, if that is x equal 4, guys, so that is your y-axis here. That is my y-axis. That is your x-axis. Your x equal 4, but your y here equal minus 4 here. So I have to come here, guys. So that is y equal 4 and minus 4, right? So this vertex here, it will be 4 and minus 4. That is my vertex at this point. So the graph is concave down or concave up? It's concave down. It's concave down, right? So now I need to find, I don't have x-intercept. I don't have x-intercept. So what you have y-intercept. What is y-intercept here, guys? Your y-intercept at minus 12. At minus 12. So your y-intercept, y equal minus 12. Here x equals 0, but here you have minus 12. So I locate here. So the graph cross moving like here. But that is my vertex. So the graph should be like this. So the graph should be started like this here, guys. Just one piece here. I'm just writing here. You know, I'm sketching the graph. So you have, that is minus 12 here, guys. So that is your x. So that is minus 12. Cross here, the graph keep continuing like this. All right? So that is your vertex. So now, what you have, I forget about symmetry. Step number 3. Step number 3 here. Step number 3 here means you have symmetry. What is symmetry here? Again, symmetry means you have symmetry like mirror. Mirror around y, where? Around x equal minus b over 2a. What is minus b over 2a? That is 4. We figure out here, minus b over 2a is equal 4. So I have to come at x equal 4 here, guys. So that is, I'm going to make like mirror here for this axis here. So that is x equal 4. That is your x equal 4. What is x equal 4? Vertical line. So you have here. So I will keep continuing like this. And then what is the distance from here to there? The distance here is 4. Because it starts from 0 here, that's your x, and to 4. So I have to move because you have mirrored similar. Like whatever I have here, exactly similar to here. So I have to move up to 8 here maybe. And then I moved up to 8 like this. All right, so that is exactly what explain this. The graph here explain why we don't have x-intercept, because as you can see, the graph is concave down, and there is no way to cross x-axis. There is no way to cross x-axis. Because of that, we don't have x-intercept. So now that is my maximum here. What is your maximum? Always the value of your maximum. I finish the problem here. Maybe I should write here. So the value of the maximum, or I should write the maximum value, guys. The maximum value. Maybe I write this one here. So the maximum value of your f of x, is what? Minus 4 when x equal 4. When x equal 4. That is come from the vertex here. As you can see, the vertex here, the value of your f is what? Here, f at 4 equal minus 4. So the maximum value here minus 4 when x equal 4. Again, why we have maximum? Because the graph is concave down. The graph is concave down. All right, guys? So that is example number 3 here. So let me summarize what I did. Again, that is what is given to us. Step number 1, you figure out the graph is concave up or concave down. Because if the graph is concave down like this, then it has maximum. If it's concave up, then it has minimum. And then I figure out A, B, C. If A less than 0, then the graph is concave down. Then I have to go ahead and find the vertex. That's step number 1. Step number 2, I have to figure out x-intercept, y-intercept. And then I go for step number 3 about symmetry. Where this symmetry, like you have mirror on vertical line, which is x equal minus b over 2a. And that is what I did here, like mirror here. And then I have x-intercept, just I locate the vertex, I locate y-intercept, just to connect them and reflect this piece to the other side. Reflect this piece to the other side, then it's very much we done. All right, guys. So I think I will stop here for this example here, and I think I will give you the application for another next time. I give you the application of this quadratic function or model related to various application. Okay, thank you.